Hello and welcome to the Sacrilege How-To Guide for General Vezax in Ulduar 10. I'm Arkham, the leader of Sacrilege, and I'll be walking you through how my group handles this particular encounter. And there are a few things that the General does you need to be keenly aware of, such as he has an Aura of Despair, which is going to hinder your mana regeneration. Wisdom and Blessing of Wisdom, buff foods, flasks, potions, anything of that nature that could potentially increase your mana regen is locked out. There are some class-specific abilities such as Aspect of the Viper, Shamanistic Rage, Spiritual Attunement, Judgments of the Wise. Those things will at least they'll still work, though they may not work as they do outside of this encounter. The aura also reduces the melee attack speed of the players by 20%. He has an ability that he will use that should only ever really affect the tank. It's his main aggro target. He'll cast Surge of Darkness on himself, and it's going to buff him. It's going to make him grow really huge for about 10 seconds, and it's going to double his physical damage and reduce his movement speed by just over 50%. You're going to have to use your cooldowns to get through that. It happens just about once every minute, give or take, and because of that, I can bark skin every time to get through it. Other classes, you just need to be aware of your cooldowns, work out a good rotation for that, and you need to know if you're going to have reliance on another class's cooldowns to help you get through. Another ability, one that absolutely needs to be interrupted, is Searing Flames. It takes 2 seconds to cast. He casts this very frequently. Very frequently. It seems like he'll do this every 10 to 15 seconds. And you can tell what's going on by the giant orbs that begin to circle around him. But it's a pretty decent-sized fire damage that hits everybody in the room up to 100 yards away from him, and reducing their armor by 75% for 10 seconds. Later into the fight, this can become something that will wipe the raid. So it's imperative that you make sure that you either have an interrupt rotation worked out, or that you have someone that has fast enough cooldowns that they can interrupt it every time. Another particularly nasty ability is a malediction that he's going to put on somebody in your group. It's called Mark of the Faceless. What it does is anybody who's standing around the person that's afflicted gets 5,000 health drained from them every 1 second, which turns around and heals the general for 100,000 per tick. One of the key things to mention with this ability is that he will not cast this on anybody that's within 15 yards of him unless there are not at least 4 people outside that 15-yard range, in which case he will begin casting on anybody within 15 yards, including melee and tank. For that reason, it's extremely important to spread out, and we'll go a little bit later into some positioning stuff that can help you with regards to that. He is going to cast a Shadow Crash ability. That's a giant, slow-moving shadow missile. Again, this is something you need to be aware of where it's going, because anybody that's near the point of impact is going to get knocked back. So it's another good reason for people to be spread out. After it does land, it leaves an energy field, kind of like a black puddle on the floor, that's going to hang around for give or take 20 seconds. And when you stand inside of it, it's going to increase the spell damage that you do for your DPS casters by 100%. It's also going to increase their casting speed by 100% and reduce the mana costs by 75%. The trade-off with this is healers cannot use this because it reduces healing done by 75%. So it's important for healers to stay out of the black puddles. You need to be careful of anyone who happens to be hit with Mark of the Faceless while you guys, as casters, are standing in the black puddles, trying to benefit from that. The other ability that is going on that you need to be aware of is the Serenite Vapors that he's going to summon approximately every 30 seconds. It's kind of a green floating crystal, so to speak. They have low health. There's going to be a total of 8 of them that will spawn throughout the fight, and when they're destroyed, they drop a green puddle on the floor. Anybody who's standing in them is going to take resistible shadow damage, so, because of that, because of the shadow crash, it's good to have a shadow protection buff on or an aura up or anything of that nature. But these puddles will also let you regenerate mana. So when you're standing in them, you get a debuff called Serenite Vapors, and it stacks about every 2 seconds. The first stack is a trade-off of 100 mana for 200 damage. Then you get to 200 for 400, 400 for 800, and it continues going up like that. At about the 5 stack mark, you're getting 1600 mana every 2 seconds at a cost of 3200 damage. And it's at that point that you should probably consider running out of there. And if the puddle is going to linger long enough, you can actually run out, let your stacks fall off, and jump back into it. The main thing is, though, you don't want to waste the precious mana that your healers have trying to heal people through mana regeneration on this fight. As far as the actual positioning goes here, anybody that's within melee range, provided you have at least 4 people at a distance, it doesn't really matter where they stand. You can go ahead and you can put your healers within the 15-yard range to avoid the mark, to avoid the shadow crashes. At that point, you're faced with a decision to either have the healers run out to the green puddles or to actually kite the general to them for the healers. That's up to you, and on the basis of what your raid is more comfortable doing. Personally, for this fight that you're seeing, we kept him stationary the entire time. We didn't even have the healer standing in that 15-yard range, though I believe next time that we try this encounter, we'll do it that way to see what the difference is and how much we like it versus doing it this way. We also had this fight as a 2-heal fight, which is kind of abnormal for us, but it worked out really well. The healing wasn't really overworking our healers, so we had our third go cat form for us. Basically, if you are going to remain having only 4 people outside that 15-yard range, it's better for you if they just take up kind of a 4-point area, divide them up around the room, call out left and right sides, and have them stick to the puddles that form on their side of the room, unless they're absolutely running out of mana and have to cross over. Try to avoid crossing the room as much as possible, and basically, once you have an understanding of this fight down, it gets really simple. So, thank you for watching. I hope that this helps you. Have a great day.